Tonight, South Australia prepares to exit its 7-day lockdown, and the RSPCA calling for community support as they deal with a surge in abandoned animals.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. As we go to air, South Australia is just 5 hours away from exiting lockdown. But we won't snap back to normal straight away, with the member for Narungga calling for lower level restrictions in regional areas.
The news all South Australians have been waiting to hear.
0 cases overnight. We'll be lifting the lockdown order at midnight tonight.
There are 19 active cases linked to the Modbury cluster, all in quarantine. However, the Premier is warning the community not to become complacent, with the next 7 days critical for the state's roadmap out of the pandemic.
We're just asking people to work with us, especially over the next 7 days when we are still at a heightened risk. We've seen those figures coming out of New South Wales today. Another 172 new infections there. 60 had been out in the community.
Restrictions will ease slowly, with masks required in health and aged care facilities, personal care settings such as hairdressers and beauty salons, and all indoor spaces such as supermarkets. Masks will also become a part of school uniform, and there's strong recommendations to wear one at work.
And you can wear a mask, then there's absolutely no reason not to be wearing one.
While not doubting the state has been kept safe, the member for Narungga says regional areas should return to low-level restrictions.
I think if travel's banned from hotspots and exposure sites and those people are locked down, then there's no reason that we can't have further easing of restrictions in regional South Australia.
Sports clubs will resume training from tomorrow. However, no games can take place for at least 7 days. The Spencer Golf Football League will now play a 15-round season instead of 17.
We'll move our program rounds 12, 13, 14 and 15 back 2 weeks. That will enable us to have our full season by 15 matches, which is everyone gets to play each other 3 times.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Lincoln Police have praised the majority of Lower EP residents for doing the right thing during this 7-day lockdown. However, they're urging the community to remain vigilant and continue to follow government advice.
Empty streets across the city as people complied with the stay-at-home order. Port Lincoln Police pleased with community's overall response to the changes.
Well, certainly we're pretty happy with the way people have complied with the requirements of the direction during the lockdown period.
Local businesses also getting the tick of approval from the superintendent, as restaurants and cafes turn to takeaway and delivery services only.
A number of checks across businesses across the Eyre Peninsula and the West Coast, and we're very happy with the level of compliance.
The first day and night of lockdown saw Port Lincoln Police hand out 9 fines for non-compliance. This included 6 people attending a party on the Flinders Highway.
Incidents where people have been mixing together or just driving around when they shouldn't be. We've seen a little bit of non-mask wearing where there should have been masks.
Authorities urging the community to continue to check in.
We want to make sure that people are complying with the QR requirements or the registering requirements when they enter these places.
The police preferring to take the educational approach when people are caught not complying.
Education has always been the key. Education is the default position. We want people to do the right thing. We're not out there to be heavy-handed.
Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Tumby Bay District is leading South Australia when it comes to getting a COVID vaccine. SA Health figures show 45.67% of the township have received their first dose as of June 27. People aged over 60 can access the AstraZeneca vaccine from their local GP, while residents aged between 16 and 49 can get their Pfizer vaccine through the Port Lincoln Vaccination Clinic. Meanwhile, Wyalla's vaccination clinic has moved to a different wing of the hospital. Originally situated on the Essington Lewis Avenue side of the complex, it is now relocated to the hospital's echocardiogram department. The new entrance is now located on Wood Terrace. Appointments for the first dose in Wyala are not available until mid-August. South Australia's RSPCA has recorded a spike in animal numbers in its kennels during the lockdown. With the surge putting pressure on their limited financial resources, the organisation is calling for community help.
Despite being a record year for adoptions, the current lockdown has proven a challenge for South Australia's RSPCA. The organisation is currently caring for twice as many animals than it was during the 2020 November edition.
Since the lockdown, fortunately, we've still got staff and volunteers here at the shelter caring for the animals, doing the husbandry, medicating, feeding, etc. But we are challenged just because of the volume of animals we're currently holding.
An extended kitten season seeing a surge of abandoned and neglected animals.
The season has been extended a little bit because of the weather in May. It would be nice to have a small break because we've got huge amounts of cat here at the shelter.
Many require behavioural support and veterinary treatment before adoption, both of which are costly exercises. But the closure of their op shops combined with the cancellation of their fundraisers and animal training classes is hurting the organisation's finances. They say the influx will result in an estimated loss of $50,000 this season.
Consider being in lockdown and being sort of contained in a small environment for a long period of time for only 7 days. Some of these guys have been in our care for 3 months.
The RSPCA asking the community for donations through their winter lockdown appeal. Details can be found on their website. Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a Whyalla hotel opening its doors to truck drivers, and 2 Air Peninsula mobile phone black spots set to be fixed. Welcome back. A Whyalla establishment has opened its doors to truckies to ensure they are refreshed for their job ahead. The Sundowner Hotel sets aside a room for the drivers so they can have a shower after a long stint.
Helping hard-working truckers keep moving. A well-known hotel-motel on the side of the Lincoln Highway opening its doors to drivers, setting aside a room for those needing a break.
We're the only place in Whyalla where they can really stop off for the night and then actually, with the side road there, turn out and either turn towards Lincoln or Adelaide.
Truckies were offered a free shower at the Sundowner Hotel and Motel in the last lockdown, a move that was well received in the industry. The hotel relaunching the offer with plans for a special facility to be eventually built.
We should build a facility if we can where they can actually just drop in and have a shower if they want, and then they can get something to eat and drink as well.
It comes as the demand for supplies and logistics grows across the region, putting extra pressure on truck drivers. Emergency legislation passed last Friday, allowing supermarkets to be stocked outside of curfew. The Sundowner, hoping to make drivers' lives easier during this time.
So last year there was at least, I reckon, 20 drivers that came through and they absolutely loved it. They were on the radio telling their mates to drop in and they appreciated it.
The offer will remain open after lockdown ends tonight. Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
South Australians will be able to jump back into the seats of cinemas as the state exits lockdown. There'll be changes to how we enjoy a night at the movies, but local business owners say it's better than an extended closure.
Grab your drinks and snacks because the movies are about to start. Cinema Augusta is preparing to press play on the latest releases, ready to reopen this week. It's welcome news for an industry who were concerned that they would be forced to stay closed for an extended period like last year.
In a regional area, they are hit hard. This is their bread and butter, so any time that I'd open and selling product, it impacts on them negatively, so it hits them very hard.
But by enforcing new regulations and maintaining hygiene standards, they will be back in business for the weekend.
We're planning on reopening on Friday night with Jungle Cruise and G.I. Joe, 2 great movies. But we actually are restricted to 25% capacity and it is mandatory for people to wear masks.
The rules allow households and families to sit together, and while masks must remain on, eating popcorn is still allowed. And for patrons who forget, masks will also be available at the cinema.
We will be instructing people to keep 1.5 metres apart in the cinema, and it will be policed by our COVID marshals. I mean, it means that we can take 65 people in the cinema. There's ample room for people to spread out. So we're looking forward to having a good night.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Turning to other news now, and a man has been arrested following a serious domestic assault on the Yorke Peninsula. Police were alerted to the incident at around 12:30 yesterday afternoon. A 37-year-old woman was taken to the Wallaroo Hospital before being transferred to the Royal Adelaide Hospital with life-threatening head injuries.
Obviously an ongoing investigation, so I can't elaborate any further, but it is quite distressing, something we're dealing with.
A 58-year-old local man has been charged with assault causing serious harm. He was refused bail and faced court today. And if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, support is at hand. Please call 1-800-RESPECT for 24-hour, 7-day-a-week counselling. Police are investigating the theft of a mobility scooter in Port Pirie South. Between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Sunday, an elderly man's scooter was stolen from a Simpson Road home. Yesterday afternoon, a member of the public reported seeing the bright yellow mobility scooter behind a shed at Woodward Park. Police eventually returned it to the man. Anyone with information is being asked to contact Crime Stoppers. The Eyre Peninsula is set to benefit from new and improved mobile coverage in 2 districts. Notorious black spots will be fixed, helping to improve the connectivity and safety for farmers working in paddocks.
A welcome boost for farmer safety. Improved mobile technology and connectivity is coming to the region, decreasing the risk to farmers in emergency situations.
And we've seen also in emergency situations that in areas where there are mobile black spots, it does create an extra level of danger.
The state and federal government identifying the Tumby Bay and Kimber districts as major black spot areas. Telstra set to fix those issues, partnering with the government to build phone towers at Brooker and Moseley.
One at Brooker, which is to the northeast of Yolana, and I think we'll fill in a problem out there that's quite a few farmers in particular have brought to my attention, so hopefully that'll largely fix the problem.
The mobile network improvements also helping regional business operations.
In talking with farmers in both those areas, they're both very excited to see the opportunity for these towers being put up.
The member for Grey says it's vital for rural areas to be connected.
For the day-to-day business, I think that's really important that people are connected on a regular basis.
Improved reception in these areas also enabling farmers to access ag tech technology.
With this development, those farmers in those areas will be able to utilise some of this stuff more and more.
Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. A Broken Hill cafe offering a warm meal with a difference. And a new program to improve powerline safety launched in Whyalla. Police have launched an investigation after multiple items, including a drill rig frame, were stolen from a Port Augusta property. The items that make up the drill rig, including a control room, would need a truck and crane to transport them. The items were taken sometime between June 2020 and March 2021. Police are asking anyone with information to contact Crime Stoppers. Now there's nothing like a bowl of hot soup on a winter's night, and now one Broken Hill cafe wants to share that warmth with those doing it tough. The Silly Goat running a not-for-profit soup night, with hopes more businesses will get on board.
A hot and fresh meal is something most of us take for granted, but not everyone is that fortunate.
Sometimes being able to come out to a cafe, it is a luxury and something that they might not be able to do all the time, so being able to offer that is special for us.
The Silly Goat becoming the Goat Shed, offering locals chef-made soup at a price that suits them.
Obviously, if you can afford to come down and pay, make a donation, it's completely up to you. But for those guys that are struggling maybe a little bit, and especially the rough sleepers, we're doing it for you guys.
Locals welcoming the initiative, saying it doesn't only help those living on the street.
Just provide that opportunity for people that may not be able to make that food for themselves, or maybe they're living a bit rough.
Owners say the scheme has been almost 4 years in the making. Sufi Bakery also getting on board, donating fresh bread, local ingredients used wherever possible.
Hopefully soon we'll be able to get some more help from different suppliers and source some more local stuff.
The cafe hoping other businesses will get on board.
We'd love to be able to run it every single week, but we'll just see how it goes.
Warming the community one bowl at a time. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Mine operators in New South Wales will now face stricter rehabilitation regulations. The new rules apply to all mining leases and will require operators to report annually on their efforts and make information available to the public. Resources Minister John Baliaro saying the changes will ensure rehabilitation is managed throughout the life of the project, not just when it finishes. Wyler's landscape could be in for a change thanks to a new partnership between City Council and SA Power Networks. A number of trees under power lines will be replaced, reducing the safety hazard for residents and workers.
Keeping Whyalla beautiful while maintaining safety. A new partnership between Whyalla City Council and SA Power Networks is beginning to flower.
What SA Power Networks have done, and full credit to them, is they've thought, well, let's go out and make a list of trees for whatever situation may be, whether metropolitan Adelaide or, arid Whyalla.
The company is legally required to prune trees surrounding their Stobie poles. Large trees, which are now unsuitable, carry high pruning costs, which is passed on to the residents through their power bills.
We've applied, among some other councils as well, to be part of this project to trial these trees.
An advisory committee now established consisting of local government officials, the nursery and gardening industry and SA Power Networks. Their job? Find the right plant for the right part of town.
The committee was formed to identify how we can select the right tree for the right place in relation to power lines.
Council has 2 locations where plants have been placed as part of the trial, the median strip at Gowrie Avenue and Ekblom Street.
We all want our streets to be green, but at the same time we all want to keep our power prices down.
Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We wrap up the weekend sports results. And Alex Sykes will have all the post-lockdown weather details. Hello again. While sport is still off the table in SA, it was full steam ahead in Broken Hill over the weekend. Lachlan Itter has this week's sports wrap.
The Outback Rugby League Grand Final was held here at Memorial Oval on Sunday. While the Silver City Scorpions didn't make it this time around, spectators from across the far west still flocked here to cheer on their side. The Boomerangs heading into the clash as ladder leaders, but the Warriors had other plans, claiming victory 32-24. Victor Ward named man of the match and top scorer for the season with 80 points under his belt. In the women's game, the Twisted Sisters from Menindee went up against the Wildflowers, Wilcannia claiming another win, 48-8. In round 2 of the new Monday night tennis singles comp, Bregan So and Corey Pascoe won in A group, Josh Nycross in B group. Finally to round 10 of Broken Hill Soccer, where both games had identical results with 4-0 wins. Alma's Jay Quintrell, Callum Langdon and Joel Van Caminade finding the net helped with an own goal to top things off. In the other match, Rob James scored a brace to help St Joe's to victory. Now that local sport across the Gulf is slowly getting back up and running, be sure to get in touch if you'd like your league to be included in our weekly sport wrap.
As lockdown ends tonight, our region will be able to enjoy the outdoors again. With a look at how the weather is shaping up, here's Alex Sykes.
Yes, and what a relief we are to head out of lockdown. Today was perfect conditions to stay indoors though, with showers and winds hitting most parts. From 3 p.m. today, Port Augusta was 23, Port Lincoln reached 18, but Broken Hill was sunny and 22. Looking further out across the region now, Whyalla was 24 degrees, Port Pirie, Kadina and Cleve all reached 20, Woodner 23, Clare had a shower to 18 degrees, Cooper Pedy was windy and mostly sunny 30 degrees, and Adelaide was 19. 19. Taking a look at the satellite image now, clouds scattering across southeast South Australia with a trough, bringing some clearing showers, most likely elsewhere in drier winds. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Northerly winds 20 to 30 knots, seas 2 to 3 metres, and south to southwesterly swell 1 to 2 metres. A shower or two for Port Lincoln tomorrow, 16 degrees. Cleve set to reach a high of 15. Woodner partly cloudy and 17 degrees. Whale and Port Augusta both partly cloudy, set to reach a high of 18 there. And Kadina a shower or two, a top of 15 degrees. A shower or two for Port Pirie, 17 degrees. Clare to reach a high of 12. And Broken Hill is set to reach 18 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, and mainly fine conditions across the region. Partly cloudy for Port Lincoln on Thursday, sunny across everywhere else. Temperatures in the mid to high teens to low 20s. And similar conditions on Friday, sunny for Cooper Pedy, 27 degrees. Rain for Port Lincoln, partly cloudy across the rest of the region. Temperatures mainly in the mid to high 20s. And wet conditions forecast for Saturday, rain across the region. Temperatures mainly in the high teens to low 20s. Except for Cooper Pedy, which will reach a max of 26. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. Well done, Spencer Golf, on getting through the lockdown. Only a few more hours to go. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Alex. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates during sunrise tomorrow, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.